It's time for Geocache Talk. Whether you are at work, in the car, or wherever you are, we hope you enjoy this show about the great sport of geocaching. If you're watching live on YouTube, you can be part of the adventure tonight in the chat room and participate with others as they watch the show. If you are listening later, please give it a like and subscribe on your favorite podcasting app so that you can get all of the weekly Geocache Talk goodness. If you have not become a patron of the Geocache Talk Network, what are you waiting for? Patron levels start as low as a Bison Tube level at $3 a month. To sign up is easy. Simply go to the Geocache Talk website and click on the Become a Patron button, or go to patreon.com/Geocache Talk. Patrons now get the famous Blackout coin, invites to special events, and other really great items throughout the year. Become a patron today. Have you subscribed to FTF Magazine yet? FTF Magazine is the #1 geocaching magazine available. It is a quarterly magazine that you can be part of. Submit your geocaching milestones and adventures to be published. FTF Magazine is also interactive with puzzles to solve and the hunt to find Spartacus. If you can solve the puzzle or find Spartacus, then you will be entered in to win a special pack tag. Every new subscription, you will receive a special swag pack. Subscribing is easy. Just visit FTF's website, ftfgeo.com. Don't miss out and subscribe today.
Good evening. As you can already tell, if you're watching, this is going to be a little different. There's no Gary tonight. We kicked him out. He's gone forever. Just kidding. And Derek is actually in the chat room. So in the production room. So if I get too crazy, he can always mute me and kick me out. But tonight, it's just me and my lovely boss, the CFO. But of course, we want to thank Derek for all the production, and he's going to be with us all night tonight, so hopefully I can't mess anything up too bad. And a big thanks to, Derek of Baker 6 Clan and our featured patrons, Geo Rick, Cash Addict Mel, Sir Drumalot, Genice, Tricasius, Rugels, EJK PBR, Albedo 0.39, Purple Turtles 3, ACDC Family, and our new patrons, TTFN Cashin. I think that's how you'd say that. CA's.
I think so.
Deckers and Steelers Chick. I think that's right. I didn't get prepped ahead of time. I always make fun of Gary, and I did the exact same thing. I didn't get prepped. No, so there'll be no bean spilling tonight, most likely, unless I just totally mess up. But Derek's got his hand on the button, so he can throw me out pretty quick. But tonight, we thought we would do is revisit the GTN45 challenge. So we've actually scheduled this show 2 or 3 times. And it had to change. Things change. If you didn't watch the first GTN45 show, it was quite a while back.
Yeah, it was the hot.
Yeah, it was. It was months ago. Mm-hmm. We'll go over it tonight, so it's not something that's just totally dead and gone. We'll go over how we did. We'll go over what the challenge is. We learned a lot more and a lot different things than we thought we would learn from the challenge. But before we get into that, let's do the news. There's not very much news, but we want to go over the news.
Where's your breaking news? Let the
generator. Oh, I know. See, I tricked him. I snuck it in. He wasn't ready for it. But we don't have any bean spilling, so you don't have to worry about that one. Okay, so obviously we're going to always remind you of Cache Fest. And we had for those that are watching, there's the graphic right there. And I got to say thanks again to Derek for designing that.
I wonder what song Signal's playing on that guitar.
I don't know. I bet it's an Elvis song, though.
Maybe.
It's got to be an Elvis song.
I wonder if there's a certain geocaching band that could write a song. Like an Elvis parody, sort of. That's geocaching related. I'm just saying.
I'd be scared to do an Elvis parody.
Well, maybe
I might get in trouble for that one.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
An Elvis tribute song.
Only if you'll show up and wear the Signal costume and sing it.
No.
No? Okay.
No one will show up. They'll all run away if I'm singing.
So we're not going to get deep into Cache Fest tonight, but we always want to remember it because we're obviously trying to do the best that we can to learn from everything we've ever attended and bring all those things together. Are you going to watch the chat there?
I am. I'm
Good.
watching it.
And try to incorporate everything we can into that one in real life. It's not till next July, but it'll be here in no time. And we'll have tons of fun stuff. And just like everything else we do, super kid friendly. So we'll get into Cache Fest later, but there's
yes. Jasper Kelsey Kite says, "You ain't nothing but a muggle." That can be the song. Love it.
I do like that. That's very good.
That.
So Derek has mentioned it before, but we're going to mention it again. Derek is working on it's not really a geocaching thing, but he tied geocaching to it. So he is doing he's joining the team for the 2022 Northwest Ohio Heart Walk. Obviously great. There's definitely some overlap. Many of us could use some good exercise. So he's doing a good thing and raising money. There's a link, which I think he'll put in the show notes. And I think he can put it up on the screen as well. But so if you go to that link,
actually not mine. It's somebody else's doing this. I'm just helping them promote it.
Oh, okay. So I hear the voice of Derek. It's somewhere.
It's like an angel from the heavens.
So Derek's just raising awareness for it. You know, we don't do that a lot on the show. Very rarely do we talk about charities or anything else like that. We do it a few times a year, and we always do it when it's Catch Me Tender. We may have a whole list of songs.
We may have an album.
When it's a great cause like this. So you don't have to participate in the walk if you're interested in it. You just sign up, and he's going to raise money, and there's a path tag involved. So I'm sure he'll talk about it again and give some more details if I'm totally butchering this. And I know he's talked about it before, but I wanted to make sure I'm mentioning it. Oh, there's the path tag. For those that are listening, you'll have to come on and see. Maybe we can put a picture of it in the show notes. But it's a great picture of Tigger, and it's got thank you and a heart. It's a pretty nice art. Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good path tag. And then, of course, more news for Far Off, which will be soon. I know it's going to come soon.
2 months.
It's that time of year again for Podcast of Hope. So December 5th, 4 p.m. to midnight, another 8 hours again. We're going to raise $1 million this year. And, well, we're going to try. We're going to raise as much money as we can for St. Jude. I know y'all have heard me talk about St. Jude a lot. And guess what? I'll do it again because St. Jude is one of the best places in the world. They have saved so many families. They don't charge anybody. And the one time a year we get serious, we have a lot of fun doing it, but we get serious as we raise money for St. Jude. That'll be coming up again December 5th. 8-hour show. You don't have to watch the whole 8 hours, but jump in as much as you can.
But you should because it's fun.
Yeah, we'll be here for the whole 8 hours.
All 8 hours are fun.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. We try to make it a really good show. It's a lot of fun. And Gary tortures me with 8 hours every year, and I am very thankful for it. We've never backed off on it, so we'll be doing that again. He will leak out the guests. He's got some really good guests lined up, so he'll leak that out soon. You know, he can't help it. He'd be leaking it tonight if he was here. But it'll be a great show. Every year we have a lot of fun. We raise a lot of good money, and tons of people from around the business. And he always has some kind of special guest coming on too. So that'll be coming up. Mark it on your calendars. December 5th at 4 p.m. Central Time to midnight. And
before we get started, we legit do have an entire album full of Elvis geocaching songs.
Give us some of the best ones you've seen so far.
Well, Blue Suede Bison Tubes. That's a great one.
There we go. That's a good one.
Geocache Rock, which I suggested we shoot a video, and all the Geocache Talk Network people can be, behind the jail cell bars like Elvis was in the video.
Just not singing.
Well, yeah, just not singing. Cash Me Tender.
Cash Me Tender. I like that one.
That's a good one. What was the first one we said? I can't find it now. But those are all fantastic.
Those are great ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I really think it could happen.
If we're so close, if only we had any singing talent or music writing ability, we'd be able to do it.
We got none. But everybody in the chat room does.
They came up with it quick.
Love My Nano. Instead of Love Me Tender, Love My Nano. These are good ones. Write this down.
I don't like Elvis.
I know. Heartbreak DNF. Oh, that's great. Love it.
Or Heartbreak TB Hotel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we're going to jump into the show.
Okay. So,
we're not jumping the show?
No, we are.
Okay.
But Dire Wolf did tell us that June 27th was when we first mentioned GTN45.
See, the people in the chat room they're so smart. I know.
I know.
They're way more organized than we are.
Clearly.
I'm not taking these off.
I know. All you can see is the computer.
My reflection.
Yeah.
Okay. So they can see my notes.
Now they can see the bags in your eyes.
Yeah, I know.
All right,
almost like I have somebody stressing me out all the time. Anyway. Okay. So we're going to go over the GTN45. Apparently, it was June 27th. That was a long time ago.
It was. I knew it was hot.
And theoretically, you could have finished it, and a couple people did finish it. I think we can put the names up on those if Derek has them. A few people have finished it. We tried to put it out when over social media when they came out, and I know that's come out again since then. Several people have finished it, and they did it quick. We didn't. That's a little spoiler. Do it quick. We did do it. We didn't do it quick.
Well,
So we'll get to that part later. But we want to go over first what the challenge was. So the general idea for the challenge, and it tied into a lot of life things for us. Like everybody else, we go through ups and downs in geocaching, and a lot of us had come out of slumps and everything else because of that flu bug that's going around and keeps staying out there and doesn't seem to go away. And, you know, a lot of us, some of us, I heard from some people that got more caching done during the COVID shutdown than they ever have in their life. And some people that just almost stopped. We slowed down quite a bit during the, we wanted to kind of rekindle that. So we came up with an idea, and we based it off of just the idea from it. We were doing this other challenge outside of this game, and we won't get into that today. But it had to do with just really, it was a mental toughness challenge, and it had a lot of things that you had to do. And it was a lot longer than this one, but it just finished. But the whole thing was just getting yourself back into being motivated to do what's important. And so that's where we kind of came up with the idea. Well, you know what? If we can do that for that section of our life, why don't we try it for geocaching? Because geocaching is such a big part of our life, and it has been for how many since
11 years?
Probably 11 years now. So more than a decade, well over a decade. And it's something it's taken us through retirements. It's taken us through bad surgeries and all kinds of stuff and good events and everything else that's happened in our life over the last decade or so. I mean, a decade is a long time. I know some people have been caching longer than that, but a decade is a long time to do anything.
Yeah.
So again, up and down, you know, you get super stoked and you go do stuff and you do different things over time. And, that we learned some about that doing this challenge, but we'll go over the rules of the challenge. And again, this is just an individual honesty thing, just like the game is. Everybody can do it their own way. They can take it and change everything else. You don't win a prize for this. It was just a way that we thought it was open to many people that have been caching for quite a while. For some people, it's going to be a lot more challenging. And for some people, they could do it in a day. I mean, I know cachers that could absolutely do this pretty much in a day, theoretically. So do you want to go over the parts of the challenge? Do you want to start with that?
Yep. So the parts of the challenge,
the name first, 45. The idea is to do it within a 45-day period.
Right.
That doesn't have to be like a really hard set in stone thing. It was just we wanted to have a good amount of time to do this because some of the things that she's going to talk about take a little bit to get done. So, all right. Number one was attend one event. Mm-hmm.
Number 2 was hide 2 caches.
Okay.
Number 3 was start working on 3 challenges that you weren't working on before.
Mm-hmm.
4, stock 4 caches with swag that aren't your own.
Like toys or.
Yeah.
Okay.
And number 5 was solve 5 puzzles.
Okay. So for people that are just hearing about this for the first time, we won't spend a long time on it, but do you want to kind of go over why we chose these things?
Yeah.
Okay. You want me to start?
Yeah. I need my notes.
You don't need your notes. You made this up. And to give her credit, the CFO made up most of this. She came up with most of this on her own. And there's reasons why we did it, but we tried to generalize it for everybody. Because none of these things are outrageous. They're all things that you're already doing. Find 6 fitness caches.
You left that off. See, you didn't put that in the notes. That's right.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll go over that because that one caused the most confusion.
Yeah.
So attend one event. So this was the one that's either super easy or super hard for people.
Depending on where you are.
Where you are in the world, right? Because some people can't, there's no events happening for a large period of this time. And that's kind of why we extended this out too, to hopefully things open back up in places and people could actually get an opportunity to go attend an event. And oddly enough for us, well, I'm not going to talk about what we did, but yet, that one's a normal one for us, but it was we had kind of slid off a little bit for attending events too.
Yeah, which was really sad because that was one of our favorite parts, or that is
always been one of our favorite parts. Yeah,
caching.
We've hosted tons, we've attended tons. I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but I think we've probably around 400 events that we've gone to over the years.
Probably.
Lots of them. We love events, and we kind of got into a little slump and weren't really going to events. And again, sad because most of the people that we know and talk to on a regular basis are geocachers. We've met through geocaching, or we've suckered them into being geocachers later or something. So we wanted to get the attend one event in there. We didn't put it on, high threshold. You can either attend an event or not, probably with.
Yeah. And it didn't have to be, a mega event or something like that. Just some sort of, just an event, just, a published
attend one event. And then the second one, hide 2 caches. Now, kind of the level up on this one we talked about was hide 2 caches, but these generally, the hide 2 caches would satisfy it. You're good to go. But the idea was to hide something that you haven't really hidden that much of. Yeah, like, where I go, which everybody should have hidden. Or are you even a cacher if you're not hiding? Just kidding. I helped somebody else hide a where I go. I helped them build one during this time.
You did.
But that didn't count for our challenge. But to do something that was different than your norm. So really just, hey, get out there. And now I know that for some people, you maybe never hidden a cache. That was super hard. That was a super hard one. Some people have hidden hundreds of caches of every type. I'm trying to get in. Okay. And so there is really no cache types that they haven't hidden that many of.
Right.
But that was kind of the level up. Hide 2 caches. Again, we're just trying to repopulate the game board, right? Put something good out there, something that you'd be proud to go find or show somebody. That was the idea there. The next one, start 3 challenges. You want to hit that while we did that? Because challenges are awesome.
Because challenges are awesome.
Because challenges are awesome. And for us anyway, I don't know if it applies to everybody else, but for us, challenges are really how we style our caching most of the time. We're generally, when we're going out caching, unless it's just, a quick pickup here and there when we're out doing something, almost all of our caching tends to fall into some type of challenge that we're thinking about. Yeah. Maybe not direct one-to-one, but that's what we style our caching out of, because we've been caching for over a decade. So it's not just random as much anymore.
Right. Well, that, and then I also think even if we're not necessarily caching to satisfy a challenge, I think when we are working on a challenge, that's when we're most excited. Right. About caching. I mean, sometimes it's just about getting out and grabbing some caches, but when we're really working towards a goal, that's when we have the most fun. Excited. Yeah.
Because I'm not going to drive 4 states over to get a random cache for no reason. Yeah. But if it's part of a challenge, obviously we've all done that. We've driven many, many states in the middle of the night and done that. So, okay. So, and we said 3 challenges just because it just gets you in the habit of it. You could do many more than that. You didn't have to finish the challenges, because then you would have to select one that's super easy and super quick to do. Just identify 3 to start working on. Right. And then stock 4 caches.
And that was just to kind of give back and be a good, not philanthropist, but a good steward of the game.
So the question in the chat room, where do I find the list? It will be both in the show notes here. It's on Geocache Talks Instagram. I think it's on the website. Maybe Derek can correct me if I'm wrong with that one. I don't know. But definitely in those other 2 places. On the website, you can get to the show notes. It's in there. It's also on Geocache Talk on Instagram. It's on there as well. And we'll go over them all here too. But yeah, definitely we can share that out again if anybody wants to start it. Hopefully we'll talk about how we did, but hopefully this is not the end of it. Hopefully other people are going to start this after this, because I know some people have not been able to get to events. Some people have not been able to do certain things right now. Some people just even couldn't publish caches for a little while. So, but in a lot of these things, it's good to kick off. It may be a great kickoff in January 1 coming up, sometimes refresh the year.
Yeah.
So
that was
stock 4 caches.
Yeah.
So
just
that's
with swag.
Yeah. Just with swag, because kids love swag.
And the thought was to stock 4 caches that not your own cache. Stock 4 caches of somebody else. Just be a friend.
Not your own. You're supposed to stock your own anyway.
Right.
That was an interesting part of the challenge that we'll talk about.
Yes.
But the stock 4 caches, which I think is something I want to start doing better
anyway.
We'll get to that part. But
you're getting off topic.
Yeah, I'm getting off topic.
Okay.
Shocker. We're surprised, right? And then solve 5 puzzles.
There's
I'm not even going to say it's your turn.
There's a lot of discussion, and we'll get to that in a second. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Okay. And then find 6 fitness caches.
And there was some controversy and some discussion.
Not controversy.
Well, just some discussion. Because when we said fitness caches, we didn't mean go. I mean, like we did a couple of weeks ago, went and did a 7.5 mile hike to find one cache. There was definitely fitness involved, but that's not necessarily what we meant. We just meant, maybe go on a walking trail or go find some caches in a park that require you to walk a short distance to get those, as opposed to just, grabbing an LPC where you can pull right up to it, or just something that encourages you to get out and kind of move.
Yeah. And we didn't explain that one well at the first, I don't think. And I think we convoluted it because we wanted to make sure it was scalable for everybody else. And we came up with that one, and we should have named it different or come up with something different. We may still in the future tweak it a little bit, but the challenge we were doing outside of this at the same time, it was a similar challenge in that it had scalable things that you're supposed to do. So the idea was this one challenge, do it for everybody, and you do what works for you. And so that's what we wanted to convey in this, because everybody has a different level of fitness, and a different opinion of what that is. And this by no means was supposed to exclude people that can't run 50 miles or whatever, or do something crazy, or
because I can't run 50 miles. Gosh knows.
But it was supposed to be something just to get you out and moving if you have the ability to do it. So whatever is pushing it a little bit for you, that was the idea. Right. Just, and again, totally optional, but it's just something to kind of like just spark your interest again and have fun with it, right? Yeah. We got a lot of questions on that one, and because we called it fitness cache, some people thought that was a type of cache, and we're like, oh, we didn't see that one coming. Up. So yeah, we messed up on that one. So we'll think about how to redo that in the future, and because there'll definitely be more of these type challenges coming up in the future, and we will definitely be doing this one again and all that other stuff. So in the few people that I've talked to that have had a chance to do some of these, they seem to like it. So they seem to like, it helped spark the interest. Okay.
It's just something different.
So
now we want to just kind of segue into how we did with this challenge, and
what we learned from it.
And I think the biggest caveat, the first thing we need to say is that we failed. We failed the challenge.
We did. We failed the challenge.
Yep, we failed.
And we'll explain why. And truly, though, you can't fail the challenge.
Well, we didn't.
It's not a pass fail. We didn't complete everything on it. So, or at least not properly.
But by attempting the challenge, not completing it, we learned a lot about how we geocache, about what we like in geocaching, and maybe even some things that we kind of want to change with
cardio caching. Is what
I like cardio caching.
And Direwolf's one that jumped right into the challenge. I think he did it in like 30 minutes. He got it done.
But yeah, I think we learned a lot with this process.
Yeah, and we learned a lot about the structure of the challenge too.
Well, but also just individually about things. I mean, we learned a lot, like just with each other about things we
for sure,
and how we do things differently, big time,
very differently. And we'll kind of go over that too. And I think that's good. And I know a lot of people, caches teams like we do, and there's some roles you fall into, and even after a decade, you don't realize that one person's filling one role, another person's filling some other, and you have some holes in your overall knowledge.
We have some holes in our game, for sure.
And somebody asks you to come to Shelby Farms next summer, you bet. We will absolutely be there.
We kind of have to, because we have family that lives there. So if we don't show up, they're going to be mad.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go through each one, because we learned a lot in each one. And I'll start for the first one, because I was most surprised. Attend one event. For us, that was like a kind of a no-brainer that we put on the list, or we thought about for us, because, again, we've probably attended 400 or so events.
Well, we're very lucky. The area that we live in, there are events all the time. I would be willing to bet you there is at least one event every single week within 30 miles of our house, wouldn't you think?
Mm-hmm.
And more if we wanted to drive further, if we wanted to go down into Denver, into the city. So we're just lucky. But I do know, based on just other cachers we've talked to and times when we've traveled and hosted events, that a lot of areas aren't like that at all. When you hosted that event in Louisiana, you had people driving 2.5 hours to come because they said they don't have events down there very often.
And this is actually one part we failed technically. And here I'll explain why. Well, we did.
How?
Because we did not. So we attended one event. Yes. We did attend one event. Yes. However, we didn't do it in the same 45-day time frame as we did all the other things because we thought we had another one. They're scheduled here all the time. And life came up, and we actually missed 2 events and one yesterday that we could have gone to, but life stuff came up.
Yeah, Jesse's birthday party. That was the life stuff.
Hey, I try to have one of those every year, a birthday at least. But life events came up. Yeah, we had people coming to town. We had all kinds of things going on.
Oh, my gosh, look at Direwolf. Well, I feel bad.
And there's another thing. Okay, so we'll go back to that real quick. So just like Direwolf. So the idea was, and we didn't communicate this properly.
I feel like he needs a prize.
You know what? We will make sure he gets one. So he went, and again, that's different styles of caching, right? Like he's 100%. He's go. He's an awesome cacher. He drove 100 miles to attend an event for the expiration date. Yes, there was an expiration date. So we just didn't explain it properly. So it's supposed to be done in 45 days. Now, if you start it from the time you start to the time you end that 45 days, that window, there wasn't a specific date. And we kept moving it out so anybody could fit a different 45 days in there because
choose your own date, basically.
Choose your own date, but all within 45 days. So that's how we failed. We did not get it all done. We technically did everything. We didn't get it all done within the same 45-day period. So we say we failed.
But that's okay. So going back to the event, because you've digressed.
Now, Direwolf did it within 45 days, but less. He did it less than that. He got his stuff done.
He's a champ.
He killed it.
Yes. So we did attend an event. Like I said, we've talked on this podcast before. We're lucky here in Colorado. We have in our area, we have a monthly dinner event. So one of the things I really liked about this is we've just been crazy busy and haven't had a chance to go to the dinner event in a long time. One, it stopped happening for a long time. So then because of COVID. So then when the event started back up, I think we just kind of forgot. Like it just wasn't on our radar to go anymore. So we hadn't been going. And so we ended up going to the event in September. And it was amazing. I forgot how much I love the events, our dinner event. We have such an amazing group of cachers that live up here in Northern Colorado. And I remember both of us leaving that event, getting back in the car, and we're like, oh, so glad we came to that event.
So we got a lot out of that one event. Now, life has still gotten in the way, and we haven't been able to attend as many. That's going to change starting tomorrow morning. But there was one cool thing was, and I noticed it for both of us, there was a brand new cacher not brand new cacher, very experienced cacher, but
new to our area.
Mm-hmm. So he had just moved in and he saw an event and he came out to meet everybody. And it was a smaller event than normal. And he was already like, hey, this is pretty cool. There's a lot of people here. And we're like, oh, this is like a third of what we normally have. Yeah. And everybody was super friendly to him. And that was where that one cache that we're going to talk about, which we can talk about it right now too. But there was somebody at this event. I'm getting sidetracked because we had a lot of fun. So we got to basically explain to him the whole area about caching and who to go caching with and who to call for things and, all the hiking stuff. And it got us excited getting to talk about where we get to cache, which is Colorado. And we're super spoiled when it comes to that. And the people that are around here. So we got to explain a lot of this and it was like, oh yeah, now we remember all that stuff. But at the same time, and he got to see this too, at the same time, there was a cacher sitting at that table and everybody's passing around the log and everything else. And she goes, when's your birthday? I'm like, that was a weird question. And she kept asking me when their birthday was. But for cachers, you get all kinds of weird questions. She wasn't asking the year and not trying to steal identities. She was asking what day and date your birthday is.
So we'll tell you why in a minute.
Okay.
You're already ahead.
No, I'm just saying.
So we'll tell you why she asked that in a little bit.
Well, that was one of the cool things. We'll talk about it.
So yes.
But it was really cool, and it really stoked the fires for us because we got to talk about oh, hey, go check this cache out and go to this area and then call this person.
We also got to tell this new person about the events we have up here. For instance, we have our monthly dinner event in Northern Colorado. Mm-hmm. We have a weekly morning coffee event that's finally getting started back up
Starts back up tomorrow.
Yeah. That went how many? You did 199 weeks in a row, and then COVID got us.
Yeah, COVID shut us down. So
so is tomorrow 200? Or is it?
Ish.
200-ish.
The numbers got kind of weird, so probably have to renumber those. Yeah. But
But just some things, which that's a really cool event because I can't tell you how many times. I mean, it's at 6:30 a.m. on a Monday, but I can't tell you how many times we've had cachers from out of state just driving through. You know, everybody's favorite Texan, D, she's come to that coffee event before.
Yeah, she showed up, surprised us. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So it's really.
But people stop through a lot of times as they're visiting because it was in the past anyway. It hasn't been, but it's going to be again in the future. It's a staple. So everybody knows Monday mornings, there's always a coffee event there, and there's people there every single time. It was just like clockwork, and then COVID shut it down. But it's going back again, and we'll get them going like crazy.
Yeah. So event. So we can check that one off the list. We were able to go to an event, and
we checked it off, but we still failed.
Okay. So we checked that one off. We were able to do it. And it looks like a lot of people in the chat room were able to attend events as well. So that's
which is great. And hopefully, if not, if you do it again in the future, you can get this all in the same time frame.
Right.
Okay.
So second component of the challenge was to hide 2 caches, and if you can, try to hide cache types that you had not hidden before. So that's not. I mean, not everyone was going to be able to do that. This guy's not going to be able to do that. You've hidden every type of cache.
That's true.
But
you haven't.
But I have not. So we were able.
This is where it got interesting.
So we were able to. We've hidden. I don't know, 1.75 caches right now because
so let's do one at a time.
Yeah, one of our caches is still pending approval, but
yeah. So the first cache we did, and I picked it intentionally because it's harder for her to do because she hasn't hidden one. It's one of the hard ones. Is an earth cache, but I do those quite often. I hide those for me and for other people, and the other one was going to be a Where-A-Go. It didn't. We did something else. We'll talk about that in a minute. But the earth cache
was under duress. The Where-A-Go was under duress.
So don't even start.
So anyway.
We started with earth cache, which she's not a big fan of. I used to hate myself, and now I like them a lot more. So they're interesting to me now. But again, that's phases of life, right? Phases of geocaching life. I used to hate them. Now I love them.
But this earth cache was nice because it allowed us to kind of combine it with another piece of the challenge, and that was fitness. So we were able to do a big hike, and one of my favorite things is hiking up in the mountains. So a few weeks ago, we were able to go hiking in the mountains, look at the changing leaves, because if you have ever been to Colorado in the fall, or if you're from here, you know that the changing of the aspens is absolutely beautiful. And so I love to go do that. So we kind of combined all of those things and hit a cache there, so other people can see how beautiful this area is as well.
Yeah, and it kind of hit several things for us.
And that is
so there it is, Dry Lake GTN45, and look at the cache owner, the CFO.
Yay.
So we used my template that I use a lot of times as far as trying to make them easily readable. And Derek, as Derek scrolls through that now, you can see. So pretty standard earth cache. Got all the lesson there, and we hid one like we would want to go find. So what we hid was one that has to do with the dry lake bed and comparing it to another lake that's at the top of the mountain. But it's not a sign. There's no signs out there. You actually have to go and hike and look at the areas, to 2 different areas, and compare them and get information. And
this area is beautiful, guys.
Yeah.
You hike, and then you get up, and there's this huge lake at the top of this mountain, kind of in this valley. I mean, and when I say huge, it's really big. People were just everywhere enjoying picnics out there. Jesse got jealous of these 2 young college guys who were swimming in the lake, so he thought he'd be cool and jump in the cold water lake as well.
It was too cold.
Yeah, he jumped right back.
I got right out. It jumped into my knees. It wasn't even a jump in. It was a tenderly,
I think
wade in.
Realized how quickly, very quickly, that you're not 21 anymore.
Yeah.
Yes. So you pop.
It is not for almost 50-year-old guys with bad hearts. It's not. Shocking cold is not for them.
It was gorgeous. People had their dogs, and it was beautiful. And now, I mean, we did this. First of all, we just wanted to do this hike because this was listed as a great one if you want to go see the changing aspens. But number 2, there were several caches along the way that we were able to find. Number 3, we were able to place another one up there now, an earth cache, which wasn't there before. And so now people can hike up there.
Yeah, there actually was an earth cache up there, and we added one to it. So now there's like 2 reasons to go up there. There was a couple of traditionals up there, which we grabbed as well, which would have fit as another fitness. But we'll get into that in a minute. But so anyway, you have to admit that earth cache is not as bad as some of the ones that you've seen.
No. That one's nice. If it takes me somewhere kind of cool and
you really had to look at the lake, which is
Yeah.
ridiculously beautiful at the top of a mountain.
And this is the second Earth cache we have. Well, this is one that we published, but we had found, what gave us the idea is we had found another Earth cache in outside of Las Vegas about dry lakes. And I remember going there, it was crazy. Now those dry lakes were huge.
They were huge, yeah.
But that was actually really kind of cool to me to see something that used to be a lake and now it's not.
And I think you even brought that up.
I did. I was the one that
What do you
said
have to admit then? You learned something from an Earth cache.
I did. I learned something.
You learned something. You swear you hate them, but you learned something.
I did.
But anyway, so it was, and here's where we kind of failed again. Technically, we did everything, but we consider it a fail for us, and we want to redo it again because of a few different things. So with the Earth cache,
so the Earth cache is there. It's published. It's ready to go. If you're in Colorado, hike.
Yeah, and we have the number in the notes, and if you come out here to Colorado to hike, let us know. We'll go hiking with you.
Yeah, we'll go do I'll do that hiking.
Yeah, heck yeah, it was super nice. But our idea was that you were going to do the whole publishing thing by yourself.
Oh yeah, and that.
Now, obviously, with help on some of these other ones, because I do a lot of them, and you're with me, and this is one of the things we realized. You've been with me on just about everything I've done outside of when me and Barry go on our crazy trips.
Right.
You're there for every one of them. You gathered information for Earth caches, you do all that stuff. But you've never physically gone through the publishing part, like actual typing in of stuff. You've even helped me proofread them all and everything else.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting. So when we redo this, we are going to, she's going to do all those parts of it. I'm going to help you, and we're going to do all those parts so you'll feel more comfortable. You know it all. You just never physically done it yourself.
Yeah, I just haven't done it.
Okay, look, Direwolf hit a letterbox hybrid. First and only one so far. Nice. Earth caches are in museums. Some Earth caches are in museums. There are some odd ones on sides of walls, and there's
an odd one at DIA.
Yes, but I like that we disagree on that one. But we'll talk about that some other time.
Well, that's it for another.
Who's off track now?
Who's off track now?
That is for another show.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So moving on. So that was one of our.
So that's how we passed and failed. Because you didn't do what you wanted, but
we also failed because we didn't get the second one published.
Yeah. And I'll pull that one up while you're talking about it.
Yeah. So the second cache we tried to get published, and we will get it. We just have to make some changes. Is a puzzle cache on that same hike, so you can get. Are you pulling it up?
I'm trying to. Hold on.
So anyway, it was a puzzle cache, and it hasn't been approved yet by the reviewer. We got to make some changes and some tweaks and some things that will make it follow the rules. But
shocker, I got busted for the rules.
I know. Well, I remember when you said this is what we're gonna do, and I don't know. We'll see what happens. Well, it didn't work.
So we'll show what we did, and because the hidden part's not gonna be on there. But so it's a puzzle. It's on up there on difficulty because I left part of it out that made sense. But so it's a puzzle. It's one of those photograph caches. We'll see if anybody catches this. So give them a start location, tell them roughly how far they're hiking, and then an exact photo location of where it is. The problem with that is that's no longer allowed. So you've got to have the one part that's missing, and I knew this, is that you have to have some GPS involvement, just like if you're doing a letterbox, even though you're telling a story of how to get there, which is kind of what this one does. You have to have some GPS involvement in it because it's a game with GPS, right?
Which makes sense.
And I knew that, and I could have easily fixed that in 5 minutes. And my reviewer is absolutely right. I'm not complaining about that at all. We have awesome people out here. But I don't want to say I got overconfident or I just complacent. I sent it in, and I just forgot to even check that it got published because I'm so used to publishing caches, and I kind of forgot.
Yeah, but you're also used to. You should be.
I should know all the rules. I know all the rules.
With the fact that you're always bending the rules. So,
Well, but this one I wasn't pushing the limits on, I didn't think. And I just wasn't thinking. And I left that one part out about the projection part. And, he did awesome. He wrote a note back saying, yeah, it's, you just got to, you forgot the one part in there to make it hit the rules. I'm like, duh, but it was too late to do. So then it was a few days ago when I saw it and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wait because there's no need to try to rush it in again. And we technically failed because we didn't have it. Now, as soon as I add this one thing, he's going to have it. Boop, he'll have it reviewed. But we failed that part.
I know. I wish we quit saying that. We failed.
Well, nobody failed but us.
We just didn't complete it. That's all. Okay, moving on.
So, Like a 5K, if you don't complete it, it's not failing.
It just wasn't finished. It's okay.
Okay. All right, Softy.
Moving
all right,
on.
Softy.
Moving on.
I'm gonna change your name to Snowflake CFO.
Stop.
Okay.
Moving on.
All right. So just again, life and everything else, right? You forget about stuff. So our 2 caches were 1 a puzzle and 2 the Earth cache, and we'll talk more about puzzles in a minute.
Yes.
But the next one was
next piece of the challenge was to start 3 challenge caches or start working on those 3 that you had not been working on previously.
Well, and Cache the Line's taking your side. We didn't finish, but we didn't fail.
Thank you, Cache the Line.
I think he's making fun of you, though.
He is not. Anyway.
Yeah. He's too nice to make fun of you.
He's too nice.
Yeah.
They're nice in Canada.
So, okay, the next one is start 3 challenges. Now, here's the funny thing on this one. I'm going to tell you too. We were looking through some challenges, and I have to say, other than maybe Cache the Line and, a couple other people, Emily Renee and a couple other people, we have no excuses for not knowing all the crap about challenges. We wrote a book. We love challenges. We did everything else, but we still stumbled a little bit. Not stumbled in finding challenges. We found some great challenges. We love them. But because we found out another one of those things, like who types and who does the other things we're doing challenges, you had never actually gone in and done a challenge checker yourself before. You totally missed it on the page. You're like, well, how do I know how far I've gotten?
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you mean? I didn't even understand your question because we talk about them all the time, but you've never clicked it yourself.
No.
You're always reading the cache page and I do that part.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of times we're on Project GC or something and looking at stats from there.
We usually don't link straight to there.
Right.
Yeah, it was. Right. But it was funny because obviously you know all about challenges. I mean, you did that section in the book, I think. But it was how clunky we are from being out of practice and just not doing this stuff like all the COVID time. We just got totally out of it. He is mocking you. Ha ha ha. It was fun, and we'll go over the challenges, and I think Derek's going to pull them up. The first challenge we found, and so we really tried to find challenges that fit our geocaching style, or at least what we've decided we want to get back into. Right. So we've done everything, and we're a big fan. And, everybody's heard me say this a million times. I'm a big fan of everybody doing whatever part of the game or all parts of the game that they like. And we try to do everything. Every aspect of the game, we at least try it for a while and we get into different things. But there's certain things that we're kind of into now that I think will really rekindle everything for us. So the very first challenge was this one here. It's GC9GWGC, which is very cool GC number, by the way. I don't know how they got that one. But it's find 25 Earth caches in 25 states.
But it does have a twist because the twist threw me for a hot second.
What's the twist?
It's find 25 Earth caches in 25 states, but 3 states or provinces.
Yeah.
But 3 of those 25 have to be different countries. So you see what I'm saying?
Are you sure?
Yeah, read it.
3. That's right. Okay, that's right. That's right on that one. Okay.
That's what threw me for a second.
You must also include 3 different countries.
Yeah, because I ran the checker, and then I'm like, what? Why do we have to find?
That's why it still worked. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the reason why we like this is, one, I've gotten more into Earth caches, and there's a whole reason for that. And a lot of it has to do with maintenance, and just I don't want to be the one that can't maintain my caches. So that's why I've gotten into hiding a lot more of those lately. But 2, it's travel, and we know, and we're not going to get totally off the track, but we know we have some upcoming travel, and we want to be able to. That's how we cache. Is we cache when we travel. Even though we live in Colorado, we have awesome caches here. Outside of the hikes and stuff we do here, we generally cache when we're not at home, when we're traveling,
which has greatly impacted our caching. NPM 1125 was saying earlier this was their worst caching year. I would say the same for us. The past 2 years have been, well, not last year, but this year has been one of our worst caching years ever as far as numbers, and primarily because we're not traveling still from COVID. It was definitely had an impact.
Karen actually finished one of her challenges, and she finished the other 2. She just has to go get so she actually finished.
She did.
Yeah.
But don't you agree? I mean, that was one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Travel is where we do most of our caching. That's because we love to travel.
Yeah, we're at 500, 565 for the year, and that's really low for us.
Super low.
Way more than that.
Yeah,
and a lot of it's because we usually take a little boys caching trip.
Mm-hmm.
I say boys.
Little boys, come on now.
A boys.
That's kind of insulting.
Trip. And then generally we're traveling and we're going on vacations, and we just haven't done that this year at all. And our caching stats show it for sure.
Yes, they do. And we did a big push last year to get to 10,000, and there was a bunch of stuff going on there, and then COVID, we just lost energy and everything else. But so that's why we picked the travel one for our first one.
So the good news about that one is we need 5 states and 1 country, and we're done. We qualify for that challenge. That's exciting.
Do we have one in another country already?
Yeah, we have one in British Columbia. Well, Canada, U.S. That's 2. So we just need a third country.
And probably this summer we might get to go and get a few more countries.
Next summer.
So, well, yeah, next summer. I mean,
you just said this summer, and that's past.
It's the next one coming up.
Summer of 2022.
Yeah, we're really hoping there's going to be an international trip in our future.
So we're close on that one. 5 states and 1 country. That's pretty good. We picked it because it's something that we want to shoot for in our geocaching style again. Right.
Okay, the second one is a really interesting one, and it probably doesn't even need much explanation, but it's a year of non-traditional caches. So a non-traditional cache on every day of the calendar year. We have filled up our traditional one in the past where we've done every day of the year with traditionals, but we haven't filled it up with this one.
Non-traditionals. And you said it probably doesn't need a lot of explaining, but I disagree with you. Because for whatever reason, filling up the calendar always confuses me and makes me think it's a streak when it's not. And I know this, but we all know there's so many new cachers in the game now. That could be something like when I was reading this cache page, that could be something that maybe we work on explaining a little better for like a brand new cacher.
Okay. So
you see what I'm saying?
Why don't you do that then right now?
What? I just
brand new cacher just tuned into the show. Explain to them what that means.
Well, it's hard to explain. You would have to find a non-traditional cache on every day of the year, but it's not necessarily in order.
So
it's just like
any kind of cache type that's not traditional.
Right. It's the calendar part.
But it doesn't have to be in 1 year though.
Right. It can be over a 10-year period as long as you have documentation that you have found one on every single day of the year.
Right. So calendar regardless of the year. Okay. So.
Oh, and important to note, you can find one on leap day, but it's not required because Groundspeak won't allow that anymore.
Right. You can't do a 366. Yes, 365. So the reason why we like this one also, and this, if you notice this one, this is a difficulty 5 challenge. So we didn't shy away at all for these.
But we're close to getting this one too.
But it'll be next year, obviously, because it's already past some of the days we missed.
But I feel like we're only like 8 to 10 days away. Like we're really close.
And they're not together.
No.
But it's interesting because, the reason why I was saying didn't need much explanation, I didn't mean for the challenge. I meant for why we would pick it. So we always try to get not that we're against traditionals or anything like that, but I think there's so few non-traditionals in a lot of areas. It adds that variety, right? Just like the challenge is called, it adds that variety. And we always try to encourage that. And I'm always looking, sometimes we're caching in a new area. Unless there's something I know we're targeting, I will filter out traditionals and we'll just look at everything that's not traditional just because we want to get other type stuff.
Yeah. And see, I cache a little differently in that I like numbers. So I'm typically looking for the quick and easy finds because I want to find as many as I can, with one exception. And what is that exception? What's the one thing I will always look for every time when we're traveling? So he doesn't.
IHOP.
No, I hate IHOP.
No, virtuals, right?
Virtuals. That's
but not just any virtual. It's history related virtuals usually. Yeah. Yes. You don't care if it's just like show up to Burger King or.
Right. So there's whenever we're traveling, there's 3 things I look for: quick and easy finds, virtuals, and events.
Right.
And those are my go-tos.
And so events would count for this too.
You look for earth caches and where it goes. Where it goes is very important to you.
Yes, because they're good ones are few and far between.
Yeah.
So, sure. And when I find a good one, it's awesome. So
the third challenge.
Yeah, the third challenge
was, and again, this says a lot about how we cache, and it was 52 weeks of events. So this is a streak.
This is a streak one.
And this is again, depending on where you live, this could be easy or not.
And this is definitely a pre-moratorium. I'm pretty sure, and Jeff, I don't think Emily's in here, but Jeff could definitely tell me if I'm wrong, but
what's the high date? I can't see it.
2015. But I mean, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't be able to get away with this now. They've cut out streaks, and this is 52 weeks in a row of events. So you have to attend an event every week for 52 weeks.
52 weeks, so all year long. Basically.
So the reason why that ties in for us, that's almost impossible in many areas. I mean, almost impossible.
But it's not here at all.
But we actually have a local event that's every week here. So we're going to see if we can get back to it. But it's a streak. So 1 week you miss in the middle of all of that,
start all over
for an event that you really can't control yourself.
Yeah.
Can be very devastating, and it's with COVID. I mean, it could easily shut down events again.
That is true.
So,
I mean, we're going back into a mask mandate, so who knows? They may start limiting events here again at any point. You know, you don't know. So.
Yeah. So, and those, in case anybody else is interested in those challenges, we're gonna have those challenges in the show notes too. But those 3 really sparked in us a good discussion about what do we want to do for caching in the future. Okay, here Jeff says. Pretty sure would not be allowed. Yeah, I believe only much shorter day-based streaks are allowed, but not year-long, even if weekly. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right. I don't think it'd be allowed. It is an older one, and I really I like it. I hope it stays around. I don't know if we'll ever be able to physically go get it, but we're working on it anyway. I mean, who knows, right?
Who knows?
Okay.
So those are the challenges. So I hope you guys found some cool challenges. Again, we tried to pick
some people actually found them and finished them.
Right. So we tried to pick 3 that really kind of exemplified how we like to cache. And so these are good ones, and good ones that we haven't met the requirements yet. So
and
it's something for us to continue to work.
And it could take us a long time.
It could.
We missed 1 week on the events. You got to start all over.
And like I said, the calendar non-traditional.
Yeah, you missed the date and it's over.
Well, I know we're short a few days now, but they could be some days. I mean, it could be, October 1st. We're short. So now we have to wait a whole year again. So
and then 25, the Earth caches.
I think we'll get to do soon. I think we'll be able to.
But we got to get to another country to do that, and travel is so up in the air right now with a lot of things. So it's a lot of this is outside of our control, but it gives us something to work on, and it could take us 10 years to get these done. Mm-hmm. It literally could take us 10 years, but it's something fun for us to work on. And if we're working towards this, it fits the kind of style of geocaching that gets us excited. Yeah. So,
all right. So number 4.
Okay. Number 4
was to stock 4 caches. Try to go out and stock 4 caches that aren't yours with swag. Basically, just be. It's almost like a reverse CeDo. You're putting in cool stuff. Yeah,
you're helping people.
You're leaving cool things behind. Yeah.
And for us, and everybody caches differently, right? And that's fine. Everybody does that. Some people don't have kids. They don't like kids. They don't care about kids.
It's not just kids who like swag.
I'm just playing.
I'm just saying. There are people. I like swag sometimes.
And some people don't care about swag. They want to do other kind of caches or whatever. But for us and how we got into it when we started, our kids were really little and they got super excited about the toys and the whole swapping things out. We've kind of forgotten about that because they're older now. They don't play with the toys and we don't think about it. And so we used to have a swag bag that we carry around. We throw some extra stuff in, and we kind of got out of that habit. And I want to get back to it. So that's why we put this one in here. But it was harder than we thought it was going to be, right?
Yeah. Well, me and the younger daughter, we went and stocked caches today because I'm all about waiting to the last minute to do things. So we did. We went and stocked caches today. So there were a couple of things.
Just toys, right? You just bought some toys.
We got Halloween toys because that's my favorite holiday, and stocked them with Halloween things. So here was what we found interesting about it. One, it was kind of hard, especially with urban caches, and I shudder when I say that because I don't really consider our town urban. I mean, it's tiny, but still, I mean, caches in the middle of a town. It's hard to find caches big enough to hold swag, first of all, because there's just so many micros hidden everywhere, and obviously you're not putting swag in those. So we kind of struggled finding good ones to stock. And then the other thing we noticed is we were filtering and looking at caches that were small or larger. So we were excluding all the micros, but we would get to some of these small caches and they were just too small for swag, which shouldn't be the case if people are abiding by the size requirements.
Yeah, there's so much to unpack here. And here's what's funny. So I waited to say this till the show because she would get on to me if I didn't. She always fusses at me for fussing about this exact same thing, because she calls me the cache police and stuff like that. Because I'll pull some up and I'm like, that is not regulation. That is not the size that they've got marked. And I understand many times containers get swapped out and everything else. And you're always like, oh, you're being such a cache police. And I'm like, no, it's just there's a reason to have those guidelines because people are looking for things. They're looking, kids are doing this, or that you want to go put a trackable somewhere and you can't. You'll drive around and you can't do it. And I don't want to get into a big negative thing, right? But it is important, and that's a whole different show. I know that's for another show. But properly marking these things is important, not just for GTN45, right? But for knowing what you're going for, not just the find, but some people pick based on sizes.
Well, they do, because I know we do that a lot when we're out looking for traditionals. If we're traveling, I mean, if we see like a large, we're going for that every time. And it is disappointing when you see it's a large, it's marked as a large, and you're like, yes, I'm going for it. And you get there and it's like an Altoids tin. And you're like, oh man.
Yeah. And a lot of that I think is bad maintenance.
Yeah.
I know people steal stuff, and some people just don't know. But even a large or even a regular, like shoebox size, not like a Tupperware, little bitty tiny Tupperware things you can barely fit a sandwich in. But it makes a difference in something like this. So you had to drive around trying to find caches you could fit toys in.
We did, but we found them. And we got some cool Halloween things in there. I will say, out of the 4 we stocked, probably only 1 was accurate. The sizing.
The sizing?
Yeah. But that's okay. We got them stocked.
Do you want to tell about your vicious animal attack?
I will. Hang on.
Okay.
One of the cool things, we talked about, remember earlier we talked about at the event about the local cacher going around and asking everyone when their birthday was? Well, part of what she's doing is she hides tribute caches for people's birthdays. So you got one hidden in your honor last week because your birthday was last Sunday. So we found, a few of those. Actually, we just found those today. It was some caches we had not found before.
We had already found my birthday one.
Yours, but I found 2 other ones that we had not. And they were caches that cachers up here, not just that particular cacher, but other cachers had hidden in honor of some of our cachers up north and their birthdays, which I thought was really cool.
Also, for another show, this because I get it off topic now, and we can talk about it all night long. But for tribute caches, so these are done for the birthday, and it's got the name, and it even said a little something about me or whoever else it was on there. So awesome that she does this. It's just a really cool
and it
thing.
Wasn't just her. There was somebody else that was doing it too. It wasn't just
right. I mean, she hid that one for us, but it was very cool because one, you feel kind of honored because people are doing it to be nice, right? She didn't get anything out of that. No. She's being super nice about it. It was a fun, easy cache to do. Just drive and go get it. And now part of this is my fault, but the first 4 or 5 people that got there, they just did a right note. They did not claim the FTF on it.
They were trying to let you have the FTF.
But I was tied up and I didn't get there for days. So people finally found it and I didn't get to go for a few days. But how cool was that? The people have that much respect because people are go after those FTFs, but the people are so nice in this. And I don't know if it worked that way in every area. And I know they didn't have to do it. And we can talk about tribute caches some other day, but it was just, it reminds you how nice people are sometimes.
It is. And it's also very telling of how amazing our caching community up here in Northern Colorado is. I can't say enough good things about the cachers we have up here because they are just good, nice, wonderful people. And, people that we consider really good friends of ours. So it's nice.
This is a whole show. I'm not even going to say anything because it's a whole show. And it's a pet peeve of mine too.
I agree, 100%.
Trackables on a list and they're not in the cache. Oh my gosh, I don't even want to get into that.
You're like, there's 15 trackables. There's 0.
Clear this in geocache maintenance and people need to do their job. But anyway, that's a whole different show.
So anyway, so we were.
If anybody's playing that game, they're going to be hurting right now. That's for another show. Anybody's drinking along tonight, you're in trouble. Sorry.
So we stocked all the 4 caches.
Look, you didn't cover your vicious animal attack.
I'm getting there. You keep interrupting.
Because it's funny.
You keep interrupting me from getting to that point.
Okay, go ahead.
You're like, Gary, I feel for Gary. He has to keep you on track.
I know. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go.
It's hard. So, all right. So we stocked our 4 caches with cool Halloween swag. Found the cool birthday tribute caches. One of the ones we restocked, and I didn't even tell you this part. One of the ones that we restocked was in a cemetery. I know lots of cachers who love cemetery caches. Love them, love them, love them. I don't as much because I'm always like, is this disrespectful? I don't know. I'm always a little creeped out. So anyway, we restocked that cache with Halloween toys at the cemetery, no less.
Seems appropriate, kind of. I don't know.
Well, as we're leaving the cemetery, I'm stopped at a red light that's next to the cemetery. I'm like, all right, cool. I was looking up because we had an air show here this weekend. So the Blue Angels from the Navy were flying over. So I'm sticking my head out the window. I was in the Jeep. So we have the T-tops off. And all of a sudden something wet hits me. I'm like, oh my gosh, is it raining? What happened? I looked up and there's a ton of birds and they were pooping. And they didn't hit the daughter, but they got me. There was bird poop all in my hair. all in on top of your Jeep. It was gross.
Yeah.
So my point in saying all of that is
that's why you came in immediately and ran to the shower.
I did. I immediately ran to the shower. And so now I'm wondering if that was like karma, because I'm like, I'm putting Halloween toys in the cemetery cache.
Which Halloween toy did you put in? Was it? Tell me as a ghost, please. Please be a ghost.
No, it was creepy spider rings.
Oh, okay. That's not that bad.
But I'm like, ooh, it was almost like karma.
You earned that.
Yeah,
you earned that poop attack.
I think I did.
Yep, you did.
It was gross though.
Okay. But anyway, stocking caches, I think, is something that we're going to start doing again.
Yeah.
Just in our vehicles, just keep some cool stuff to put in there, whether it's pens or toys or whatever.
Some stickers. We had Halloween stickers. We put in a few. We were so mad. We bought these really cool Halloween eyeballs that look like ping pong balls, but I didn't find a cache big enough. So that was a bummer.
That's for another show too.
Cache karma. Ooh, yeah. That would be good.
Yeah.
Cache karma.
We'll have to talk about that.
Yes.
That's actually a term. A real term.
Well, anyway, we got number 4 done, so it was good.
Yeah, and we're going to start, just because I think we need to do it, we're going to start stocking caches more. Yeah. How cool would it be, like you see a lot of it, and I think somebody, I forget who now, I can't do both of these same time anymore. Somebody hid some caches with their son this weekend. I think they said 6 or 7 of them. But how cool would it be? You go out to your cache, and, you're showing your kid geocaching or whatever, and they got their own cache. And you show up to check on it, do maintenance, and it's stocked with toys you didn't even know were in there. And somebody came and stocked them all up, and you'd be like, "Oh my gosh, this is really cool."
I know. And we talk about stocking caches, but I would also say clean out caches. Sometimes when you go find a cache, you find less than appropriate things in there. I know you're good. You are really good about that. If you see something not appropriate, you're like, you know what, we're gonna just take this out because it clearly wasn't put there by the cache owner. And
I found some nasty stuff.
You have found some less than desirable.
We won't get into that now.
So
they were adult items.
Yeah, so it goes both ways.
Yes. Okay, so let's keep going.
So let's go to the elephant in the room, number 5.
Yeah, and then we'll hit the fitness ones at the end because that's pretty easy and obvious for us.
Maybe we should just hit the fitness ones.
Okay, and we'll come back.
We'll come back.
Okay, so 5. Fitness caches for us, which again I know we named that terribly, and I hope people don't not do the challenge because that part was confusing. And for the people in the chat room and everybody that's talked about it so far, the ones that have done it seems like they got something good out of it. It helped. At least it was fun. For some of them, we know it was super easy. We got that. There's always ways to level up. But the fitness one, like we said, it was
more just what does being active mean to you?
Yes.
Whatever that means, then go do that.
So for us, we're pretty active people, but for us, it means hiking. It means hiking in the mountains. Now we have access to that here, so it's great. And we're very fortunate when it comes to that. And we did a couple times. So
we did hiking, but you also, when you were in,
me and Derek did some,
but
that was outside the time frame. We just had to start over again.
Why? Stop. That was you also in the very beginning when you were in Memphis. You guys did a whole on the Greenbelt.
Yes, we did.
Series. Yeah. So that was very fitness.
Yeah, and for us, that was super hot. And bugs were all over the place and everything else. So it was challenging, And this last one we did where we hid the caches, we found some caches up there too. I think we got 6 that one day. So we really technically got them all that day, but we had done some other ones. But for this one, it was a 7-mile hike. It was beautiful.
It was.
We spent all day hiking these, and it was extremely enjoyable. And I know we talked about it a little bit before, but it really outlines what we're going to do in the future as far as geocaching. We're kind of off of finding caches in town as much right now. I know you found a couple today, but I mean, we're not quitting, but we really want to enjoy Colorado, get out away from people again. Not that people are bad, just, get out and really enjoy while we're here, which is the nature. And we love the nature and finding those. And for me, I've always said, you didn't used to agree with this, but I've always said I'd rather hike all day for one than get 50 in an hour, but didn't really have much fun doing it.
Right.
Now you can have fun on power trails. Don't get me wrong. We do them all the time. We've done them for years. They're fun. But for us, really geocaching, when I think of geocaching in my head, the first thing that comes up is the mountains, getting out in the mountains.
Well, but that's because that's where we started geocaching too. I mean, I did, I was in Florida last week and we found a few. I took my mom and sister out and found a few caches.
Right, absolutely.
So, and one of them was on our way there at a rest stop in Alabama. Okay. Well, it could have been a park and grab, but we parked on one end and then saw there were 2 caches. So we took the opportunity to walk
Yeah.
Basically the length of that rest stop.
Mhm.
We were at another rest stop in Alabama where we actually did a little bit of hiking in the woods trying to find one. So,
Yeah.
so again, did we do a 7-mile hike at a rest stop in Alabama? No. But did we take 20 minutes and kind of walk through the woods and never did find that one? Had to DNF it actually. But, that's what we did. And that was, to me, I still consider that fitness because we were moving and my mother's 67 and she went with us. So it's not like it was intense or challenging by any means, but it was movement. And I think that's important.
And we weren't trying to say run a marathon. We were trying to say this was the whole idea of this was to make it scalable, and maybe we'll tweak again and keep adding to it because it's something we're going to do especially if we let some of these habits drop off. It's something we're going to revisit, and we're going to do it again and again. Just like with the other one, the outside challenge that we're doing, we're going to keep hitting that because it helps us keep on track with what we want to do. And not that geocaching is work, because we don't want to look at it as work, but we want to focus on the parts of geocaching that really bring us joy. That's the important part, because it's such a big family thing for us. We don't want to get jaded. And we've seen people leave the game just because they get bored and everything else, or get mad about it, or, and we don't want to be those people. We want to be the people that enjoy geocaching for as long as we can ever do it. And hopefully it's around forever, right? Yep. But the mountains are the best for me. And you're starting to like it even more now too. So are you ready?
All right. So yes. So let's go to like I said, the elephant in the room, the puzzles.
So what's the number one thing we figured out about puzzles?
And I don't know that this was an incredible revelation because I've always said I hate puzzles, but now I really hate puzzles. A lot. You
really do hate puzzles, and it was hard to watch. I tried to select ones that I thought you would enjoy.
What? Really?
And I was really wrong. I was really, really wrong.
I had a headache within 5 minutes of attempting, and I don't get it. I don't get geocaching puzzles. I'm just gonna put it out there. I don't get it. Like, I don't understand that I just need to click somewhere on a page.
Charles here. I don't know if they're here tonight or not, but
I need to be a guest on their show. So they can be
I don't think you understand what their show's about.
Yes, I can be like that. Those memes. I hate puzzles. Change my mind and let them try to do it because I didn't get it. Like in my mind.
Let me give you an example of one that I'll set the stage for you. So I got a D1 puzzle that, to me, when I looked at it, I thought, I mean, you'll even look at the page and you got the answer.
It was at least D7 for me. D7.
It was a D1 puzzle. I'm not going to give the GC code on it because we're going to talk about how to solve it. But so the title is written backwards.
Which it didn't even occur to me until like 20 minutes after.
Okay, and I'm not going to say what the exact title was because you can look it up by the title, but it was written backwards, which was a hint. And the main part of the whole thing, the only thing that was written on the page was in the hint. It just said, this is not the actual coordinates. And then in the hint, it said, who hid this cache?
No, it said, who is the mysterious cache owner?
Okay, yeah, well, I'm paraphrasing. Oh. So there's only one thing you can do, because many of us know you can change the name just like we did on yours. It says the CFO for the other cache we hid. The name was just a question mark, and that's linkable to their thing. You click on it, and in the guy's description of his profile, it had the coordinates to the cache. It said, if you're looking for GC this number, this is where it is. When I looked at it, it seemed super, super, like, I didn't know there's any other choice of what you could do. I gave it to you. You looked at it and go, this is stupid. There's nothing to do.
Well, when I looked at it, it said, who's the mysterious cache owner? And I said, I don't know. And then I went to look at the cache owner's name and there's a question mark. I'm like, well, that's dumb. It's just a question mark. I didn't know you could click it, or you should click it.
You did know that, though.
I mean, I did, but I didn't think about it. And then I clicked it and I'm like, okay, so it's this guy's profile. Now what?
I know it was written right there, and you're like, "This is stupid." Because she might have said some bad words, actually.
No, I did not. That was on the other one. But it's because when I think puzzle, I think like some of the ones I did see,
like Sudoku or something obvious on the thing. Yeah. So a lot of puzzles, as you know, and there was the funny that we've solved. We've done, I don't know, a couple thousand puzzles, maybe. I don't know, a lot, tons of puzzles, more than 1,000. Some hard, some easy. Mm-hmm. And it made me think, like, you have solved some of the puzzles for us, but you hate puzzles.
The science ones where it's like, here are questions about the heart. Yeah, I can do that.
But the ones that you don't like are the ones where you don't know where to start. Like if you're looking at the page and you don't know where to start, you're like, this is stupid, and you immediately move on.
Yeah.
So we went through a few different puzzles or whatever, and it was really interesting because you literally hated it.
I did.
Like, I think if it was left up to you, you would never find puzzles. Although that's a good thing because it shows you where, like, kind of the hole in your game is.
Well, yeah, like I was wanting to look up this cache that Karen put down to see if we found that. But like I found another puzzle that I'm looking at, and I won't even say what it is because I know this person. But it's basically like it's a riddle, and it's saying find the right location by using these seven cities. I have no idea. Like, I don't understand what I'm supposed to do. Like, I don't know. I still have no idea how to do that. But
So what are you saying then?
I'm saying I don't get puzzles.
I get that, but so with puzzles, and that's part of the hard part about it. And everybody does puzzles their own way, and there's some people that are really into puzzles, some people don't like it. For you, and probably for new cachers that are newer to the game,
Yes.
there's definitely
There's probably a gap. Like if I've been caching for a long time, and I'm like, I have no idea what to do. So I can only imagine if I'm a brand new cacher and I look at something, I can just imagine how frustrating it could be for those folks.
So we actually, I think it was solve 5 puzzles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you did end up solving puzzles, and we found some, and it was, but you had a mental block on there, and I think that's why this is something we definitely want to keep in there in this challenge, because I think there's very many people, and obviously, you know, Tom and Charles can literally do hours and hours about this, but there's a lot of people that are really scared of puzzles. And it was kind of shocking to me for you to be scared of them because we've done so many, but again, you're doing 80% of it. You're not doing it all start to finish. So it was different there. And I wonder now that we've kind of gotten to this and we've really kind of thought about this, I wonder how many people that were doing this challenge or even outside of this challenge stumbled because of that one part of it, the 5 puzzles. Because some people don't do puzzles at all. But I think that's good to stretch yourself and do it. But I wonder if that's not, and now again, we're asking people in here, and these are like the super experienced people. So it's hard to get that kind of survey information right now. But I really, I was really shocked by how much the puzzle stumped you. It's not that you can't figure them out, but you had a mental block immediately. You were like, I don't even want to touch this. You were immediately mad when we sat down to do those puzzles. Well,
yeah. But to be fair, that's kind of how I do with, like, I enjoy geocaching. I love it, but I don't want to ever spend 45 minutes to an hour on one cache unless I'm hiking a mountain or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to spend an hour solving a puzzle or an hour looking for one that I'm like, if I don't find it in 15, 20 minutes, I'm done. I'm over it. I'm done. So I think it's probably less the puzzles and more just my personality that I'm moving constantly.
Right.
So I just don't want to spend a ton of time. But yeah, but I mean, I know I've talked to people at Megas who, like, that's their thing is solving puzzles. And and you know, I talked to someone who this person was solving all of the puzzles in New Zealand and saying, you know, I may not ever get there, but hey, I'm solving all these puzzles. And you know, that's their thing, and it's cool. And you know what? To be fair, those people are probably going to be smarter than me someday because they're mental. It's mental sharpness. I don't have it.
Well, first of all, you're super smart. Second of all,
well, I'm just saying, you know, that keeps you sharp and on point.
It does. But it brought up another point too. So those 2 we were talking about weren't the examples I'm about to speak of.
Okay,
those were fine. But there were some other ones that we're not going to give GC codes because I don't like to talk negatively about a cache and then, you know, blast it or whoever.
Yeah, that's not fair. It's not nice.
And it was actually, there was a couple of challenges that we looked up when we were looking through a bunch of challenges. And again, this is a whole nother show. I don't want to get into it now. And not even joking about challenge talk. I mean, there's a whole nother show. But there were some cache pages that even with challenges and even with a checker on there, I don't know. I'm very shocked when people will come up with a really creative challenge and do one of 2 things after that. And one, either hide a terrible container out there. So they did all this work and come up with a really creative challenge. And then there's just like a pill bottle under a bush, you know, put it all together. But the other part is they don't put any effort into the cache page, like 0 effort into the cache page at all. And then it's just like one big thick block of text. There's no breaks. There's no bold. There's nothing on there to really draw your eye to things. Because, you know, most of the time we were going through a bunch of challenges and looking. You'd look at a page. If the title didn't immediately give it away, you'd try to look in there and see what you got. And you just couldn't see anything.
So here's what I would say to that is, you know, I don't know the situation, but I do know in the past that you have held classes and helped people who didn't understand HTML or didn't know how to put together these beautiful cache pages. So maybe it's newer people who are just like, I don't know, so I'm just going to put this.
Yeah, and I don't even know that I mean HTML. Like, there's some people that do some really impressive cache pages.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just talking about like the stuff that's on there, like bold or space or indent or do anything on there like you're writing. And I think that turns people off. Like, we always try to talk about new people in the game, and we know there's so many new people in the game all the time. But if a new person's getting in, they see a one like that, they may not even be super familiar with challenges in the first place or puzzles or whatever if it's a non-traditional, and it's just a whole bunch of text they have to try to decipher, and it's not clean. They're going to be turned off immediately, I would think. They're going to be like, this is not worth my trouble. I'm not going to look at this. Because we know with new people, they stumble upon these things, and I don't know. That's one of the things that I saw. It was so different between one to the next. Like, you'd see one page and be like, oh my gosh, this is super, super clean and easy. And the other challenge, like I saw, you would look at it and you'd immediately be backing out of it. You're like, I'm not reading that paragraph for no reason.
Well, and I think that's what's good about shows like yours and the whole Geocache Talk Network is you guys are able to provide education to people about, you know, how to really enhance the caches you're hiding, enhance your cache pages, make them friendly, make your puzzles, you know, solvable or what have you, so that it is enticing to new cachers and it doesn't turn people away. So I think that's where the value lies in podcasts like this. So it's good.
That was a good plug. That was awesome. I had to pay you for that one.
Yeah.
No, that's so overall, the whole challenge. And again, just for anybody, just a super fast recap here. I'm trying to scroll down. My computer's not okay. Attend one event, hide 2 caches, start 3 challenges, stock 4 caches that are not yours, solve 5 puzzles, and find 6 fitness.
Fitness is a bad word.
Yeah, fitness is a bad word. Not many people would agree fitness is a bad word, but find 6 caches that you kind of have to get out and go to for whatever your comfort level is, scalable to who you are. You know, hike a mountain, walk down the street, walk across the parking lot, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you can't even walk. Do whatever you can do to push yourself a little bit just to get out
just to get
to moving.
And, you know, and I think the important part about this challenge is, like we said at the beginning, is we learned a lot about how we cache and then even some differences in the way you and I cache, even though we cache together for the vast majority of the time. I like what Julio just said about puzzle caches. The first puzzle cache can make or break it, whether you like it or not. Like, if you're a beginner, the very first one you do, you can be hooked and be like, oh my God, that was amazing. Or it could be something really difficult. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I'll never do those again. You know, so I mean, there's so much truth in that statement. So it's almost like, and that's what I was saying earlier, one of those caches puzzles we were looking at was like a 1.5 or whatever. And I was like, there's no way, that was like a 7, you know, like if that existed, that was so hard. So like if I'm looking at that as a 1.5 and I have no clue where to start, I'm probably not going to look at them again, because in my mind, if I can't do the 1.5, no way we'll ever be able to do the 4 or the 5.
Right. And subjectivity is a whole nother topic too, right?
Sure.
That's for another show, but that's for another podcast actually. But so back to the challenge. We know you hate puzzles, and at least you kept it clean, which is good, which you didn't beforehand.
Wow.
She said a bunch of bad words that were not appropriate for the show. Anyway, so I would say this is probably in some people's normal caching style. They do all these things anyway, right?
Yeah.
But for some of us, like, we got out of the habit of doing some of these things. And I think it's good, whether it's the GTN45 challenge, or it's something else that you do every once in a while to make sure you're not getting into a rut. Everybody can play the game the way they want to, but it's so much more rich of an experience if you do things that are not the only thing. Like, you don't only find traditionals or only find puzzles or whatever.
Because here's one, like, as I'm thinking about it, and Pizza Ninja just said wintertime is a great time for getting into puzzles. And I'm not harping about puzzles, but I'm just thinking about something I might start to do differently. is I do know a lot of cachers, if they know, because we travel a lot. Our caching really revolves around travel.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of cachers, if they know they're going somewhere, like say California,
Mm-hmm.
they will spend a month before they go solving puzzles. And, you know, that really does, now that I think about it, open up your caching window, right?
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes you might be in an area, I know when we're driving through it, I'm like, oh, well, we found everything. All that's left are a bunch of puzzles that we didn't solve. You know, and when you're moving through, you don't necessarily have time to solve it then. So maybe that's something I need to do more when we're going to go on vacation somewhere. And I know ahead of time, you know, I can dive into some of these puzzles and try to figure it out. And then that just kind of opens up more when we're there.
So that's number 5 on this list. So how are we going to incorporate this in the future? Number 5, you just mentioned. Yeah. Number 6, we're going to start hiking more. So we already know that. Yeah. Number 4 on there, stock caches. I think we covered that. We're going to start doing that more and just keeping, like, one of the coolest things we've ever found. It's still in our refrigerator now. And we found it like early on. Is, I don't even know what they're called, but it's a little magnet, like a refrigerator magnet with the little clear thing on top of it. And it's got the old icons built into it. So it probably costs 20 cents to make or something. And I just thought it was the neatest homemade personalized swag. Maybe that's what we can think about doing, because we have a really creative daughter that's super good at crafts, and we could come up with some cool swag. And it's always fun to find that personalized swag, non-promotional personalized swag and stuff. So maybe that's how we can step up our game there. The challenges, we're going to keep hitting challenges because we love those. I think I really want to, we've actually completed a lot of our challenges. We had a big list. We completed a lot. I would like to get out and get us a new list of ones to go for again. You know, sign them and go do it. Hide caches. We've kind of changed our opinion on how we're hiding caches, but we're going to hide some. We have an opportunity for an upcoming show. We'll talk about it, but, we have with a group nearby, we're going to talk about it. We're going to help them hide a cache on their property.
That's really awesome.
That's
awesome.
Super cool. We're going to talk about it, but it's a whole show. I don't want to talk about it now. And it happened during the same time, this event, and it really re-energized me for a lot of things. And we'll talk about that later. And then attend
another show.
That's another show. That's right. And then attend one event. That was the number one thing. We're going to get back into attending events. Now we're going to one early in the morning, but we're going to start going regularly again, because that's where our friends are. And that's what really, you get excited when you get to meet with people and talk about it. And I know that's not for everybody, but it's definitely for us.
Roomba Cat says Memphis Mafia swag.
Be fun stuff. We got to make some cool stuff now. Pressure's on.
Pressure's on.
But because travel has not been as open to us recently, we're going to get out in the mountains and start doing our caching again. That every time we do that, we get super jazzed after we do it. It's just getting out and doing it. So I hope for some people, and again, we have some crazy experienced cachers in here, and they could do this in an afternoon if they wanted to. And we have some that may have been in a rut. This may have helped them. Maybe it didn't help somebody. I don't know. They thought, I don't like doing those things. Like, you threw a fit about the puzzles and we're flipping desks over and stuff. And
yes, but I've changed my attitude now over the course of the show. I might.
Look at you growing.
I know, I'm growing. It's growth. It's all
you
about
admitted
growth.
to learning from an Earth cache.
It's all about growth.
And now you're saying you might actually solve some puzzles. We win.
But you know what? I might solve some puzzles, but also start putting out the kind of puzzles I like. Because I'm probably not the only person that likes certain types of puzzles.
Yours are going to be hard, though, because you're a smart science person.
I like knowledge, yes. So
okay. All right. We'll see. You know what? You just said it.
I did.
There's some people listening already.
I
think you now have to. That's what got you into this trouble in the first place. So we're going to wait and see these puzzles that you put out and the ones that you solve.
More to come.
We may have to go over bookmark lists so you can show which ones you solved and put it out there. Yeah.
Now you're really getting difficult on me.
Okay. So just to wrap up, I know we'll run long super easy if we don't. Just to wrap up, I think the challenge was a success for us, even though you don't like to say it, but we failed. We failed because we want to do it better.
We want to do better.
We didn't publish 2 caches.
We would have had somebody follow the rules.
Whoa. I wasn't supposed to be doing them.
All right, anyway.
How many did you publish? Okay, I didn't think so. I hope if this is new to you or you did it, and we know we had some people that did it, if this first time you're hearing about it, get out and try it. Maybe it's a January 1 thing. Maybe it's, just a right now thing. But find a way, either this or something else, to always re-energize yourself. There's a lot of just negative stuff going on in the world right now, and it's too easy to get sucked into that stuff. And we have a game that's really fun that we all like and we all play.
And I think this challenge is really good at hitting aspects that allow you to grow as a cacher, but also help other cachers grow and also give back to the game at the same time by doing some of these things. So I think it's kind of multifaceted in that it's not all about you. It allows you to be a good steward of this game as well, which is a good thing.
Right. And they're talking about the failure thing. Yeah.
I know. Cache the line.
But you have to fail to learn, so it's okay.
That's true.
We're going to do it better next time.
Failure means growth.
Right. So try it. Get out there, try it, or make your own. If you make your own challenge that you're going to do or if you have ideas of how you reinvigorate the game for yourself, share them with us.
Yeah, if you have some ideas of how we could flip this little challenge around and add some other cool things in, tell us. I mean, that'd be awesome.
Let us know what you did. And because we all get busy, I know we're going to the holidays, and it can easily get to the side, and people get depressed during the holidays, and a lot of bad things happen. We have a game that we should be able to, dive into and have fun with. And that doesn't mean going and find 1,000 caches. That can just mean finding something fun in there and remember to step away from all that negative stuff for a little while.
That could mean finding 5 caches that leave you with amazing memories.
Yeah.
As opposed to.
And just remember that we have a hobby that you can step away from bad stuff and just enjoy for a while.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. Wrapping up, any final thoughts?
Those are just my final thoughts. I think it was good. I liked kind of stretching ourselves a little. I do wish we had been able to complete it in the 45-day time period. The summer, everything just got nutty for us this last half of the summer. But I would like to try it again, like you said, maybe first of the year, and see what we can do and get it done in that 45 days. And again, I would love to see other people add to this or make their own version, because I would love to see what everybody comes up with.
Yeah, I'm going to say the exact same thing. So I want to see other people's. And I'm joking around about the failing and everything else, but it did what it was intended to do for us. Yeah. It got us excited again.
It did.
And it really is going to change the way we cache again for a little while. And every time we do this and get re-excited, it's like it's a brand new game all over again for us.
Well, it got us excited, but also I remember us looking at it being like, we'll get this done in a week. It was harder than that. Because life does get in the way. So it was a little more challenging.
I still really want to be a full-time geocacher.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
Somebody won't let me retire and be a full-time geocacher.
Somebody likes his toys and things that cost money. So.
I didn't like my toys.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll wrap up now. And I do not have the notes on what next week's show is.
I know. Hopefully Derek does.
Maybe Derek knows. I don't know. Maybe it'll be a surprise. Or maybe this is just our last show ever. We're just done. We retire. You go full-time geocaching.
I bet if it's the last one ever, Gary would be on.
Yeah, you're probably right. We're probably going to do it again. Okay.
It might be the last one ever now, because people might be like, what up? We're not watching that anymore.
Yeah.
Those people were crazy.
Yeah, protein powder isn't free. That's true.
That is so true, Direwolf. Holy moly.
Okay. Go out there, do this challenge, do your own challenge. But the big thing is just step away from all the stuff that's going on in the world right now and just have fun. We have a great game. At least as often as you can, get out there and play and just really enjoy yourself. And we'll wrap it up with that. Derek can close us out.
May your finds be many and your DNFs be few. May the terrain and difficulty both be less than 2. And whatever it is you're looking for, may it find its way to you. And may we all meet again.
Folks, we hope you've enjoyed the show tonight. Please email us your comment at geocachetalk@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. The show can be found on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Radio Public, or Spotify, as well as at the Geocache Talk website. Don't forget to click that subscribe button below and ring that bell notification so that you can see and hear the show on a weekly basis. And tell your friends about the show. Get them involved with us in the chat room. And until next week, don't just talk about geocaching, go geocaching.